Hello, friends. Welcome back to Trending. Today's Thursday, December 19th, about 9:15 as we're recording. Last one of the year.
Last blast.
We made it through another year, Joe. Congratulations.
Another ring around the trending tree.
Yes. This is a fun one. So this one, we typically take some kind of faith or some kind of news or culture thing and do a faith spin on it. This is always the kind of the black sheep of the year. we don't really do that, but we just for fun. We're looking ahead to next year and we're making our Nostradamus bold predictions for what we think is going to happen in 2025.
Yes.
So,
and as usual, we give ourselves a grade from the previous year's predictions. And
again, we should. How many times have we done the Nostradamus? Probably 3 or 4.
This is probably our fourth round of it. Yes.
And our batting average is not good.
Not good, but it can get better.
And what I'm noticing is I think a lot of our predictions still will be true. We're just a little too quick.
We're way ahead.
We think things are going to happen in a year, and they're going to happen down the road. Perhaps.
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
So a lot of my predictions I think I still feel good about, but they're not going to happen in a calendar year.
Okay. All right.
So why don't you remind us what we said last year?
Okay. So last year you said that Spotify would move into the video streaming world, that baseball will have an in-season tournament, that Twitter, X, or Threads will fail. There's not enough for both of them, room for both. And then Hollywood would follow Marvel, that they'd have less content. They would be cranking out a lot of stuff, but they would make a few good things. So do you want to explain yourself?
I mean, I stand by all of those, and none of those happened.
Right.
I still think all 4 will happen.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if all 4 happened, but they did not happen this year.
So I haven't been up to date on baseball, but hockey's having an in-season tournament.
Okay.
They're doing like a nations tournament where they have 4, like Canada, USA, Finland, and is it Russia or Sweden? They're all so they'll have like an inter-season tournament where they like those, players from those nations will kind of battle it out. So it's a smaller version of the NBA one.
Okay, nice.
But so I think they heard it and they're like, you know what, we're gonna beat baseball with a punch here.
Nice. Okay. Well, yeah, I stand by all 4. I still think all 4 of those will happen, but they didn't this year. So okay. Remind us, what were yours?
So I said that the Carolina Hurricanes would win the Stanley Cup. They did not. Mm-hmm. Okay. That Baltimore would win the World Series. They did not. That there would be a calmer political environment. That was not close. That Taylor Swift. I think I got a half on this one.
Okay.
Taylor Swift would release a new album with new music, which it was. But I kind of got a little bold and said it would be like a Sagittarius theme.
Yes.
And there's no indication that it was. It was the Tortured Poets. I thought it was a good album.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And then that the United Methodist Church denomination would split, and that did come true. The writing was on the wall. It just needed to officially happen. So they met in Charlotte in May. A couple of measures were voted on, and because of those voting measures, they parted ways.
Yeah.
So I may have got like 1.5.
I'll give you 2, man. I think you got 50-50.
Okay, well there we go.
When you're making bold predictions, that's a great batting average.
Right, well, then
congratulations.
Well, thank you. So since I did fair last year, you'll probably do better this year. And,
I don't know. We'll see about
back
that,
and forth. So anyways, all right. So there we go.
Okay. So are you ready? Should we get our?
Yes. How many did you come with?
Let's do 4.
Let's do 4. Okay. So I will be able to make 4. I've got like a cluster of 3 sports references.
Okay.
Predictions.
Would you rather do 3?
No, I can do 4.
Okay.
Yeah. I think with one of them, you're gonna have to probably weigh on it a little bit because I know the headline, but I don't know the article story about it. So if you could kind of, and I'll telegraph that to you.
I'll do my best to help you out.
All right. So who's gonna go first?
Go ahead. What's your? Here, let's do this. Let's go. Most likely to least likely.
Most likely to least. Okay. So most likely would be this. I think that 10 Christian colleges will announce closures in 2025. Mm-hmm. We see this as a trend. Both you and I went to small Christian colleges.
Yep.
And we know how they have very small endowments.
Mm-hmm.
They do rely heavily upon just retention, obviously, but new students every year. Like they really got the water is up to their neck nearly every year because of costs. Mm-hmm. Their costs are rising. I love my experience at Sterling College.
Yeah.
I felt like as a Christian, it helped me put together what does like a vocation and identity and worship. Mm-hmm. How can you bind those all together in under one canopy of life?
Yeah.
And so I think it's a valuable education model.
Mm-hmm.
I think at some point these colleges turn into mission outposts as well, where they're trying to see conversions, and that's fine. I think we should always be calling people to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that unfortunately some students feel like maybe they're a project that people are working on instead of a place where they can kind of come find who they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes people get not they don't have that great of an experience at a Christian college. But I mean, there were several notable ones. Multnomah College was kind of a glaring one this past year. School in Portland that had been around a while.
Yeah.
When I was going to George Fox out there, I mean, you bump into Multnomah people all the time, and it looked like it was going to be formidable and survive, but they closed their doors. My older brother is an academic dean or VP of academics at a small Christian college, and without divulging much, he just says some of their calls with the regional vice presidents of education, they get on the phone together, and he hears some pretty grim outlooks from some of them in the area, and so he kind of holds his breath for some institutions. So I think it's going to happen. It's unfortunate. I think they're a great place for kids to go, but I think financial costs, I think other opportunities out there, I think we're just going to see maybe the slow diminishing of Christian colleges in our area. So
yeah, that's probably very likely. I think education in general is going to overhaul significantly before our kids get there. I think it's going to change significantly, both Christian liberal arts colleges and beyond that. I think there's going to be a lot of changes.
Yeah. So that's my first one.
Okay, I think it's pretty likely.
Okay,
let me think what I think the most likely one is.
Okay.
I'm going to start with my my favorite one. I don't know if this is going to happen or not.
Okay.
I'm going to coin a new term right here.
Okay.
It started right here on Trending.
Okay.
2025 is the year of the Sugar Ray Renaissance.
Sugar Renaissance. As
Sugar
in like
Renaissance.
The pop band
Sugar Ray.
Okay.
I think this year Sugar Ray is going to come back.
Dude, I went to a Sugar Ray concert.
Did you really?
Yes.
Nice.
So it was Sugar Ray Incubus, and 311 came to the Kansas Coliseum.
Yeah,
that was like my first real big concert that I went to.
I like it.
Yes.
So I think Sugar Ray specifically might have a big year, but it's also a bigger trend. Okay. So, background: the Creed is going on a nationwide tour.
Oh, yes.
Yes. The Fray has a new album called The Fray Is Back.
Wow.
So I think that late 90s, early 2000s pop radio sound is kind of having a resurgence.
Okay.
And I was kind of looking around like, okay, who is around we haven't heard from in a while? Sugar Ray, I think, is a good example. Mark McGrath, the lead singer, is one of the highest paid and highest requested people on Cameo.
Is that right?
So he's still like kind of around. I think he was a guest host or panelist or something on, I don't know, The Voice or something like that. So he's still kind of around. So I think Sugar Ray specifically will make a comeback this year, but in general, those like late 90s, early 2000s vibe is going to make a comeback this year.
All right.
And along with that, this is kind of a twofer. This is part one, part two.
All right.
So Sugar Ray.
Going bold here.
Going bold.
Yeah.
But along with that, did you know, so Barnes & Noble has a new store here in Wichita. Yeah. They launched 60 new locations in 2024.
Wow.
Barnes & Noble is kind of on the rise.
Okay.
So I think along with Sugar Ray, along with that, I think 2025, we're going to see a return to physical media.
Okay.
Books and albums and maybe CDs, magazines. A lot of magazines are kind of talking about they went online only. They're talking about coming back to print. I think we'll see a resurgence of physical media in 2025.
Okay.
Led by none other than Sugar Ray. The Sugar Ray Renaissance.
Okay, man. Well, I cannot wait for that to be like the word of the year. And he's like, brain rot was, I mean, it's descriptive, it's true, but we need something a little more pop in it, you know?
Yes.
A little more zing.
Yes.
Sugar Ray.
Sugar Ray Renaissance.
Oh my gosh.
Coming to the Oxford Dictionary in 2025.
Yes. And it like won't be auto-corrected. Like,
no.
All right, man.
All right, what's your number two?
All right, so another one I think is more likely is the rise of digital watermarks. And so we're seeing both in audio and in print or images, like people needed to kind of mark because of AI and deepfakes.
Yeah.
People are moving to, having something to where they can tell that something's authentic or not. And so I don't know if like someone's sole business is going to be cranking out unique watermarks for people.
Yeah.
But I just think people are going to be so worried about getting ripped off or their stuff being stolen that they're going to start putting those in everything. They're going to hide them in certain places. I was looking for an audio track for like background music for a podcast project I'm working on. And so I've heard some of the audio watermarks, and I just think that could be a little cottage industry. But I think this is growing nerves about AI in the creative world. So I think people are going to try to box out their space officially by having some of these marks on them. And I think people are going to get used to looking for them. Yeah. Hopefully this means that people won't be, duped by, deep fake media stories and things like that on Facebook, which seems to be evergreen and harmful. So I think that we're going to see people claiming their things a little more thoroughly. So
Yep. I think that's also very likely. It's kind of funny you mention this because I just watched a video about this last night, and they're saying that one way that this might happen is it could be a physical watermark that you see, or it could be like a code watermark. And so YouTube and Facebook and the big platforms out there won't let you publish anything that has a digital watermark. So there might be another way that the government might get involved and enforce some of that kind of stuff where you can't publish anything that has that back end.
Okay.
So we'll see. I think that's also very likely.
All right, man.
Okay. I think it's time. I think 2025 will be a year of another social media craze. Okay. What I mean by that, we haven't had, remember the Harlem Shake?
Oh, yeah.
Remember the mannequin challenge?
Do you remember the ice bucket challenge?
Remember the ice bucket challenge? Remember planking?
Yes.
We haven't had one of those in a while.
I mean, there's been
there's been like a lot of micro ones on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, but they're busting up urinals.
Yeah.
And things like that, like things that need to go away.
There hasn't been just a fun, lighthearted, silly one that everyone did.
We got to figure one out.
I think this year we're going to have one of those.
Okay.
I think people are still just tired and stressed and anxious. So we need Sugar Ray.
Okay.
And we need a mannequin challenge. We need something dumb that everyone's going to do.
Okay.
Just to kind of be silly for a minute. So I think there's going to be one of those this year.
Okay. All right.
I have no idea what it's going to be.
All right.
But I think there will be one this year.
All right. Well, I can't wait. A year from now, we're going to be like, you know what? This is what happened.
We called it.
You called your shot, and boom, it happened.
Mark McGrath is going to do it first at the Sugar Ray reunion concert.
I think it's going to be more like a Billy Ray Cyrus thing. He's going to start.
Oh, that could be. That could be. I don't know. Who knows?
All right, man.
All right.
Let's go. All right, so next I'm going to do some sports. I'm going to do a cluster of 3.
Okay, I'm ready.
Sports predictions.
Okay.
And the third one you're not going to like. Uh-oh. I'm just going to, and I think most of our training audience will not like.
Chiefs are going to lose the Super Bowl.
I'm just going to say ahead of time, I'm sorry. So I think, hockey's my first love.
Okay.
I think the Stanley Cup's going to be won by the New Jersey Devils. Nobody knows about them, but so they've been kind of known to be like scam hockey, where they score goals, but they can't prevent goals from being scored on. So, but I feel like they've got their goaltending mopped up. They're getting line production from all 3-4 lines. I was talking about it with Ezra's head coach. I'm his assistant coach. He's a big Devils fan, and I'm just like, man, I think it's going to be their year. He's cautiously optimistic, but yes, I think the Devils are going to win the Cup.
Okay.
I think the Dodgers. This pains me to say, but I think the Dodgers are going to repeat. Not only are they loaded. I mean, they had like a stretch during last year's baseball season where they were terrible. People were out on injury. I'm like, they have all this money. I just remember Avery and I talking in the car, going, man, their salary dollars are not going to be put to good use. But not only do they win, but they loaded up with more starting pitching, and it's just going to get silly. So I think that they're going to repeat, unfortunately. And then, yes, if the Super Bowl, if you're going to make a bet, Kansas City versus the field, Kansas City or any other team, I would take the field.
Okay.
I just think they have been dangling to get by. Who knows how bad this high ankle sprain for Mahomes is going to be. And some other teams are really surging right now. I mean, the NFC North is nasty.
You're right.
Okay, including my Packers.
Yep.
But could the magic be there? It could. Winning 3 times is tough. Never been done. Yep. Right. So they would make history. I just think I got to take the field on this one. And I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, enjoy it, Chiefs fans, because what a wonderful season and story. But I just got to take the field on this one.
Who are you picking? Lions?
No.
Who do you think? Who's it going to be?
I think it's going to be an NFC team. I think it. So that's the easiest thing to say. But I think somebody from the NFC is going to win this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did see a stat this morning that I think there's 5 teams in the NFL that haven't scored 30 points yet this year.
Oh my gosh.
And it's the Chiefs, and then it's like all the bottom feeders. It's the Patriots and the Jags and I forget who it all is, but it's all these teams that they have 2 or 3 wins, and then the Chiefs. So they've had a very weird year.
Yeah. For how good a record they have. That's crazy. So defense is solid, obviously. It's that's gonna be good in the playoffs. It just takes 1 week,
Yeah.
where you just don't score enough.
Yep.
And then it'll be done. So, anyways,
I hope you're wrong.
that's fine.
But
That's fine.
Might be right.
We're wrong all
I'm
the
scared.
time. Okay,
I'm
yes.
scared, but
I'm
I
going to
think
take
you
the
might be
field
right.
on this one. That's probably the easiest bet in the world because
Yeah.
there's other teams, vying for it. But yeah, I just don't think it's the year.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see. Okay, this one I think might be a stretch, but I think it might happen. I think this year we might see the first real AR glasses take off.
Okay.
So this year was the Vision Pro from Apple, Quest 3 from Meta. There's a couple different things from Google out there. Amazon had some glasses a couple years ago, but then they haven't really done anything in a while. So if you're not super caught up on that, like the VR headsets, like the big ones, those are VR, virtual reality, where everything is VR. AR, augmented reality, is where you can, there's a few of these out there, but they just haven't really taken off yet, where there's just things that are in your glasses lenses, like your text messages might pop up, or GPS directions, or you can take pictures or video with your glasses, or you can listen to Spotify. So there's a couple out there, but so far they've all been really clunky. I think people are starting to prove that VR, like the big headsets, I don't think those are really going to take off.
No.
They're big and bulky and expensive.
And people run into walls and stuff. I mean, they act the fool.
Yes. Years ago, I made a bold prediction about the metaverse.
Right.
And that really just didn't happen. And I don't think it is going to at this point. But I do wonder if Google or it'll probably be either Google, Meta, Amazon, or Apple this year will have one that's kind of a prosumer, most people can afford it, kind of a basic model that's basic. There won't be a ton of features, but I think it'll open up the AR glasses market.
It's going to be awesome, man.
We'll see.
We just got a Hyundai Palisade. We replaced the family road trip style car. And this is like a 2021, so it's not brand new, but it's on the newer end.
Yeah.
And if you're in the driver's seat, you're the miles per hour and a few other things are flash on the screen, and I'm like, this is really nice. So I think as long as it's not not overwhelmed to where our brain just can't compute everything all at once.
Yeah.
I think it's probably going to be the sweet spot. But it's kind of cool to have because you don't have to look down at your dashboard anymore.
Yeah.
You just keep your eyes on the road, or at least out the windshield. So. Yeah.
And again, there's some people are probably not going to love that advancement. It'll feel creepy and weird and too much tech and futuristic. But then, again, I was watching another video recently, and they said, well, just imagine you don't have to look at your phone. You don't have to, if you want to take a picture, you don't have to fidget with it and make your kids look at it or what. It's just, you can just kind of live, and you don't have to be, you're distracted in a different way, but you're not going to have to constantly do this for text or driving directions or pictures or whatever. So pros and cons. It's all pros and cons.
Yeah.
But I do think that's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
This might be the year.
That's hard. So then we have to start to guess does that person have the AR glasses or not?
Right.
Real or not real?
And and again, will you have to disclose that you have that? Will it have some kind of marking so people know that you might be taking pictures?
Yeah. Okay.
It's a whole new thing, but I think it'll happen.
All right, man. That's cool.
We'll see.
I think it's going to be good. Okay.
Last but not least.
And this one's silly. I kind of want to think about a local one.
Okay.
Downtown is growing. It's developing. I went down there a month ago, and then I went down there this past weekend. There's new stuff, and there's people everywhere.
Yeah.
New places to live, new places to go. And so I thought, what is downtown Wichita missing, And so I had just been to Memphis for the St. Jude run, and just off Beale Street, there's a place, kind of an Irish pub called Silky's. Okay. And they actually have goats on the property. And so you can, after you eat a little bit, you can go out into their courtyard and you can go look at the goats, live goats, And so I thought, you know what Wichita needs? Wichita needs some establishment where there's some live animals. As part of the attraction, part of the allure.
Kind of like a hipster, trendy place with some farm agriculture.
Yeah. You just never know. Agriculture is a big part of being a Kensan, you know. And so I thought, this is what downtown needs. And I don't know what the place will be called, what it'll be about, or even what animals they have.
Okay.
But I'm going to make a prediction that as part of somebody's way to be distinct in Old Town, they're going to establishment. They're going to have some sort of a pet exhibit.
Interesting.
Yes.
That'd be. I could see it being successful, at least in the short term. What if Chicken and Pickle just brings in chickens?
Yeah.
What if there's just a coop
Yeah.
And you just like play some pickleball, then go look at some chickens.
And then maybe you can like pick up some eggs on the way out,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I like it. Out of all of them so far, I hope that's the one I hope for the most. That'd be awesome. I love it.
All right.
Okay. Wow. I'm gonna have to start thinking about what that could look like. I like it.
Yes.
Okay. One more.
Round us off,
This is
man.
probably the least likely, but the one I'm also most hopeful for.
Okay.
And we kind of talked about this last week. I hope this is the year where our political culture calms down a little bit. My likelihood of this is very little, but my hopes are very high, that we'll just get it's going to be another chaotic year. And so I just hope that we just need to pay attention a little bit less to news and politics. And there's going to be a lot of daily splashes about silly things that are happening. And I hope this is the year that we just collectively be like, you know what? We've had enough of this. Let's kind of turn it off. Let's not give them attention. Let's not buy into this anymore. It's not working. We've got a pretty good track record of the last 10 years that the chaos, the anger, the frustration, the everything, all it does is make everybody angry. So I hope we just kind of realize, like, oh, you know what? It's a big deal, but it doesn't need to be a big deal to me every day.
Yeah.
And so I just hope that people start to turn that corner of exhaustion and frustration, and we can all play a part. And I think if we just stop paying as close attention, it might die down a little bit.
Yeah.
If we just don't give them eyeballs and the clicks and the views, it might start to turn the corner. So I'm very hopeful that this might be the year where that starts to happen. I don't think it will, but maybe, and I'm hopeful that it will. So, do you think there's any chance that can happen?
I think it can happen in pockets. Yeah, I mean, I think at some point, I think human beings are driven by incentive. We make moves because we're incentivized and our desires are stoked.
Yeah.
And I think if either individuals or groups of people look at each other and say, we're going to do something, we're going to be different, then I think that we'll see some little pockets of, and lowercase r resistance.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, well, that might be good for you. I'm going to do something different. And, I mean, you could try to convince me to be pulled back into it. I'm not going to convince you to do what you're going to do with your life. And so I think that there could be an interesting movement of pockets of people. And I think if I could make a veer towards, I mean, this year in 2025, May 2025 in particular, is going to be the 500th anniversary of the Anabaptist movement, which gave birth to our denomination and our way of life for the faith. And those people, they resisted. Yeah. And I just read an article recently, an excerpt from a book called Martyr's Mirror, of people who resisted, and it ultimately costed them greatly. Yeah. But what I sense from these people and these testimonies is that they had an inner peace. They did the inner work. Yeah. That even if their reputation got battered a bit, even if they missed opportunities, it was worth it. Yeah. So I do think what is possible are people going to begin to calculate, it'll be worth it to relinquish some of the energy I've been expending on these things the last 10 years. It's yielded nothing positive for me. And so if they can find pockets of people to help fortify that commitment, I think it'll be a positive thing. Yeah, I think so too. I think it's unlikely, but I think it's possible, and I'm hopeful. So we'll see. All right, man. Maybe this is the year. Maybe it is. So yeah. Okay, well, 2025, here we come. Wow. We got 8 things. I'm very curious. I hope your goat thing happens. My takeaway is I want some goats downtown. That's my number one. It's here for the goats. Hopefully it's those fainting goats, man. Yeah. Those poor goats. Candy Bergman would love it. She's got some goats. She could, maybe rent them out or something. Yeah. Sugar Renaissance and the goat Renaissance. I don't know. You need to come up with a marketing term for the the year of the goat. We should put all these in Chat GPT and say, make it happen. Yes, nice. See what cranks How can we make this happen? That's awesome, man. Awesome. Okay, so as we wrap up here, Christmas Eve, we're just a few days away, which is kind of hard to believe. That is crazy, man. Yeah, we've got our 3 services, 3, 4:30, and 6. Every year, it's our by far biggest service of the year. A bunch of people are going to be here, but it's great. I think we do a really good job at Christmas Eve. It's one of my favorite things that we do. So if you're around, bring everybody who's with you and come join us. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a fantastic time. Absolutely. Okay, well, with that, thanks for watching and listening this year. Yeah. It's been fun to keep doing this, so thank you for
hanging in there with us, and week after week. We appreciate all of you who tune in on a regular basis. And we'll be back to the normal shtick in January.
That's right.
Have a good couple weeks off, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year.
All right. Thanks. See you guys.
Yep.